Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Mochem La'ira online smicha. In this week's parsha, it says clearly the famous pasuk in Yud Beis Mem Beis, Leil Shimurim Hu LaHashem, that the night of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the night of Makas Becheres, is a night that's a protection from the Eibishter. And then the pasuk continues to say, Shimurim L'chol B'nei Yisrael L'Deirosam. It's a protection for the Jews throughout all generations. We find two different ways how to explain this pasuk lahalacha. We'll start with the negative one first, and then we'll see how it's translated more positive. The Mechilta says something that's not known. The Mechilta says, since it says, what is Leil Shimurim Hu Hashem, meaning to say, Magid Shekol Yisrael Tzrichim L'Ishtamer Boy. It's a day that Jews have to be more careful, more vigilant at that time, because they need an extra protection that's against what everybody else knows. It's free for all. Over here it's Leil Shimurim Hu Hashem. The Mechilta learns Pshat, you need an extra protection. And some Mefarshim explain why does the Mechilta think that you need an extra protection, is because since at that time there was the Makas Becheres, and the Makas Becheres is a plague, and Chazal tell us any time when there's a plague, the Eibishter is not the one who does the plague is not mafchem bein tzaddik l'rasha, even though it's supposed to hurt just the negative, just the evil people. Nevertheless, ein mafchem bein tzaddik l'rasha, and therefore Hashem at the time of Makas Becheres said all Yidden should stay in home and make sure that the mashchis doesn't chas v'shalom affect them. And so too throughout the generations, because it was a time of when Makas Becheres happened, it needs an extra protection. In history, we actually find that this was actually the time when the blood libels, the story in Prague and all these things happened actually Leil Seder. From the other hand, everybody knows the famous one, how the pasuk is translated, Leil Shimurim Hu Hashem, meaning this is the day that Hashem personally protects us, and we don't have to be worried about anything. We're free. We're being protected straight from Hashem. And this is actually lahalacha brought down in a few different inyanim for the night of Pesach, if it is the Leil Shimurim. Because Bechlal, halacha says, the Gemara in Daf Pesachim, Daf Kuf Tes, Daf Kuf Yud, the Gemara says about the concept of zugos. Zugos is be careful not to eat and not to use things by the number of pairs, 2, 4, 6, 8. And the Gemara says, kol the kapid, anybody who's very makpid, very suspicious or very superstitious, kapid by die. Then the mazikin, God forbid, will harm him. Or the loy kapid by die. Whoever doesn't make an issue out of it, the mazikin won't get to him. However, the Gemara clearly says, even though if you make no issue of it, the mazikim will stay away. But the Gemara says, "Miu lemechash miboy." He should still be cautious. He should be concerned. So if we are worried about in general the halacha of zugos, why is it punk in the night of Seder we have arba koises, the mitzvah of dalut koises? And this is what the Gemara Taka asks in Psachim, Daf Kuf Tes, and the Gemara says that one of the reasons it's not an issue of the night of Seder is because Leil Shimurim Hu Hashem, because this is a time when Hashem protects us and we're not worried about any issues of zugos. Another issue, that how it trickles down l'halacha for the night of Seder, is brought in Rabbeinu Nissen Goin from the Megillah Storim. He brings, this is the words, Orisi Rabbana, I saw from my great teachers that he did not close the door on this night. The night of the Seder didn't close the door. And he left his doors open. So when Eliyahu comes, we'll be able to run out without a delay. Now, in other words, Ram Nissen Goyen is saying that by keeping your doors open, that shows that you have real, not only that Hashem is protecting us, that you have true emunah, faith in the fact that the Eibishter will redeem us today. In Sefer Hamanik, he also brings this minig that a night of Seder people wouldn't close their bedroom doors when they would go to sleep, and he will bring a Gemara Yerushalmi Ksubis Daf Perik Yud Beis Halacha Gimel. Over there it says Rabbi Yirmiyah would tell his family that when they sleep, they should sleep with their clothes, their shoes on, and their walking sticks ready, because at any minute they'll be woken up to leave with Mashiach. However, the Chok Yaakov brings that this minhag of leaving the door open didn't become a custom, because it's shchicha hazeka, because you're asking for trouble with ganovim. So the Ramah in Siman Tov Pei also says that you only do it during Shvei Chamascha, but during Shvei Chamascha you open the door to show that it's Leil Shimurim, and showing that minimum amount of faith during that period of time will also enhance, bring Mashiach earlier, Eliyahu earlier, because the Schus Emunah. But it doesn't say you leave the doors completely open the whole time, because Shchichi Ganovim. Another thing, when the Seder falls out, the night of the Seder falls out on Friday, the Shulchan Aruch in Hilchas Pesach, in Siman Tov Pei Zayin, discusses a machlekes whether you should say Bracha Achash Mein Sheva on Friday night. The reason why you usually say it, to make sure that the people stuck in shul late shouldn't walk home on themselves, because it's a mazikim. But because on the night of the Seder is a Leil Shimurim, you don't have to be worried about mazikim. Perhaps you don't have to say it. Another thing, the Ramah in Siman Tov Pei Aleph Sif Beis talks about Krishma Shalamita. When you're going to sleep by the night of the Seder, do you have to say all the extra psukim in Krishma Shalamita, which are basically as an extra protection that nothing should happen? And because it's Leil Shimurim, the Ramah suggests that you don't have to. And the Chok Yaakov actually adds, Af ein roi lahachmir al atzmi. You shouldn't even be machmir to do it, because you're minimizing the showing of the Amunah. In Yalkut HaMeiri, it's brought, in a sefer called Yalkut HaMeiri, it's brought that because it's a Leil Shimurim, we don't even have to be worried about Ruach Ra. So typically we're concerned about food that's left under a bed because of the Ruach Ra, not to eat it. So if you have any Pesach to get food under bed, no concern to eat it on the night of the Seder, because it's Leil Shimurim. You're protected, you're guarded. However, in some Svarim, they have a problem with this thought, because they say that if so, you wouldn't have to wash Negelvasser in the morning when you wake up if you're not concerned about Ruach Ra. So perhaps Ruach Ra is one issue. That Ruach Ra happens even if it's a Leil Shimurim, and you do have to wash the Negelvasser in the morning, but Mazikim is another issue. Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein in the Chashukei Chamed even says, even though the halacha states that when you walk out of your house, you put your hand in the mezuzah and you say Hashem Yishmer Tzeisi Yuvai, because this day you have the guarantee that Hashem is protecting, maybe there's no inyan to say so.